Well, as a PhD student, at some point I felt that we have a very strong students' union in the university, but that I wasn't really very connected to that students' union, and I wasn't really involved with a lot of the things that the students' union was doing, and it was a very strange decision for a PhD student to actually decide to run for one of the full-time positions in the students' union. And because I felt like there's so much more that the students' union can do towards the postgraduate students in particular, so that's the general reason. But also for me, as being an international student, I felt that part of being a student at Nottingham University is to actually get that experience of being part of the students' union and being involved in the huge amount of the fantastic activities that we do here. The SU is, for me, is an essential part of the experience that I really hope every single student will be able to have while they are at the university. For me, being at the university is not just about getting a degree. Technically speaking, you can get a degree anywhere. But then even after you graduate and you apply for a job, it is not just about how good your degree is, it's about how good you as a person is. And for me, that aspect of your personality and of your personal development actually comes from being involved with such a very strong students' union like the one we have here in Nottingham, in different types of activities, different types of sports clubs, different types of even leadership roles as being an officer, and so there's so many things in the SU that you can have and you can actually use to improve yourself as a person, rather than just a student who comes to the university just to get a degree and then leave. Postgraduate role is really a very important role for so many reasons, and I don't want this to sound negative, but naturally most of the officers in the SU are, most of the time, they are undergraduate students, and they do not fully really understand the needs of the postgraduate students. And the postgraduate students in Nottingham now, we are almost 25% of the total population of the university, so it's not just a small or a fraction, a small number of the students. We are 25%, which means that we really need someone in a full-time capacity to represent our views, to represent our needs, to represent us as a community. And for me, that is a very important reason why we really need a full-time officer in the SU. The role is really very interesting because it's really very flexible. Some people assume that the role is only about the education aspects of postgraduate students, and as a result, some people actually treat me most of the time as the second education officer, because I work with Adam, the education officer. We work together very closely with each other. However, in reality, the postgraduate officer actually takes care of so many other aspects when it comes to the life of the postgraduate students, in terms of welfare issues, in terms of even sports events, in terms of activities and socials, and so many other aspects. So it's more of a president of the postgraduate students union, if that makes sense, rather than just the second education officer. So the role is really very flexible and very big as well, which is very interesting. Well, there is a lot of things that I can do with the other officers, and actually I am already doing with the other officers, because as I said, if you see the role as being the president of the Postgraduate Student Association, for example, then I get a lot of students come to me about welfare issues on which I will have to work with the welfare officer to sort those out. Some students come to me with sports events or things to do with the sports in general, then I'll have to work with the sports officer to sort them out. But again, most of the time I work very closely with the education officer, because most of the problems that I deal with and most of even the strategic issues that we are trying to plan out for the next few years are mainly to do with education. So the role is really, whoever takes this role will definitely have to work very closely with everyone else in the Students' Union.